What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video and another week of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're here with the third episode, The Power Broker. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this episode. I think this is definitely my favorite one in the series so far. Definitely excited to continually see Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan being able to expand upon these characters that have had plenty of screen time in the movies, but, you know, definitely not as much as a lot of the main heroes in the Avengers lineup. So definitely excited to be continuing this show. And we knew this was going to be happening based on the end of the last episode, but Zemo is now a part of the story. Before I get too deep into my thoughts on this, I do want to refer to something from last week and also mention to you guys that I will be jumping into spoilers. This won't be a full breakdown of all the events as usual, but, you know, anything that really stood out to me I will be talking about and just giving my general thoughts on the episode. In last week's episode, we were introduced to Isaiah, who we learned was this black super soldier from back in the day with Cap and the Winter Soldier. And I mentioned in my review last week that I'd be curious to see where they would take that. But part of the fun of being able to watch these shows week to week with the Disney Plus series is being able to be part of the discussion and have other people's pick up on things that you didn't necessarily pick up on when you watched it yourself. And so I didn't really even think about it when I heard Isaiah in last week's episode, but then the internet reminded me that this was actually the Black Captain America from the comics from back in the day. I haven't seen a comic book or read a comic book with that character in it in quite some time, but it just did not dawn on me when I heard his name that that's what it was. I actually kind of forgot that the Black Captain America's name was Isaiah Bradley. So very excited to see that now kind of in retrospect. So I figured I should mention it right off the top. We also see his grandson in that scene, Eli Bradley, who also was a form of Captain America in the comics as well. So didn't pick up on that my first time watching the second episode. I have rewatched it since then, picked up on some things I hadn't picked up on the first time. And again, it's nice to be able to have those eagle-eyed fans that pick up on things that maybe you may be familiar with, but maybe not as much as some others. So that was what happened last week with Isaiah, and I'm very curious to see where they take that as time goes on. So after the final moments of last week's episode, we do see Zemo, the villain of Captain America Civil War, a villain that I feel like they did a lot with in that movie. I really thoroughly enjoyed his character as a villain, one of the more memorable ones in past Marvel movies, but they definitely never took the character to that next level, giving him his costume from the comic books and really kind of showing us his character in full action. But this episode definitely did a lot of that. Right out of the gate, Bucky ends up breaking Zemo out of prison just because he knows something about the super soldier serum, or at least kind of some leads on where to start this whole investigation. But Bucky ends up talking Sam into working with Zemo so that they can try to find who has their hands on the super soldier serum and where it's being made. And yeah, that ends up leading into this big action sequence. You know, they try to go find some information. They do find out some information on the doctor who actually are the scientists who was actually making it. This is where we're reintroduced to Sharon Carter from Captain America Civil War and Captain America Winter Soldier, who has still been on the run after the events of Captain America Civil War because of what she did with Captain America and the rest of the gang. She'll be arrested if she comes back to the States, and she's become a little bit hardened, a little bit more cynical now in this version of her character because of everything that happens. That's definitely something I'm very interested to see how they play off of moving forward in the series. But yeah, you know, Sam, Bucky, and Steve were all pardoned for those events because of the fact that they were Avengers and they saved the world. But she's been on the run this entire time. So again, she's kind of changed. She's a little bit more hardened, a little bit more cynical. Again, very curious to see where they take that over time. I enjoyed seeing her character back in the show. We knew she'd be back in the show. So right out of the gate, we were seeing Zemo and Sharon Carter and these elements we knew were going to be in this series. And I'm glad that they're just getting right into it and giving us some great action sequences with them. This episode had a lot of really great hand-to-hand and gunplay action. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. And this episode pretty much is just Bucky and Sam working with Zemo, running into Sharon Carter, who ends up working with them, even though they're all kind of worried about Zemo. He seems like he has some sort of plan up his sleeve. He does put on his mask in this episode, so it's nice to see him in the iconic Zemo mask, the purple mask from the comic books. And yeah, most of this episode is just them trying to find out more about the super soldier serum, and we do learn that there were only 20 of these made, and that our group of Robin Hood villains are the ones who have possession of the rest of these. We do hear the name Power Broker multiple times in this episode. It seems to be like the leader of this place called Mandrapore, the kind of ruler over this crime syndicate is kind of the vibe I got from it. And yeah, it seems like he's going to be going after these group of Robin Hood villains that are taking the serum and that are trying to do better for the people. You know, essentially that's kind of the gist that they kind of have. Like, they're supposed to be Robin Hood. Essentially, they kind of said that in a previous episode. I think it was the last episode. But yeah, they're definitely taking some wrong steps towards that, right? The whole idea is they kind of want things to be back like they were during the blip. You know, we do learn that they are taking, you know, different resources and different things to kind of help the people who are struggling after the blip. We learn a little bit more about the leader of this, we learn a little bit more about the leader of this criminal group is the young girl with the orange hair. I believe her name is Kelly. I may be wrong on that. She was from Solo, a Star Wars story. That's the only thing I keep connecting her to. But yeah, we learned that she had somebody that she cared about who ended up dying, who had tuberculosis. She tried to kind of find some sort of cure for her or something to kind of better her. And she's just angry at this point. She's trying to be, again, like this Robin Hood figure for people, but she's starting to take the wrong steps in different directions. At the end of the episode, we see that she ends up killing a bunch of innocent people that are part of the GRC, the Global Repatriation Council, I believe is what it's called. The episode actually opened up with a kind of cheesy TV kind of commercial for that, essentially saying that their goal was to help people who came back from the blip kind of become part of society again. You know, they're going to start out with no money. They're going to start off in a whole new world. They're going to be lost, and the GRC is supposed to help them with that, and apparently they aren't really doing that. So our main villain character here, again, I think her name is Kelly, she is really angry at this point. She's lost somebody that she really cares for, and she ends up killing some innocent people, which makes her colleague look at her a little bit strange. So I'm very curious to see where they go with that. And then the very end of the episode is that we see Ayo, or Ayo, I don't remember how her name is pronounced, but she's from Black Panther as well as Captain America Civil War, one of the Wakandans. And yeah, she shows up because she's there for Zemo. She heard that he's been broken out of prison. We also know now that John Walker, the new Captain America U.S. agent, as well as Battlestar, are on their way to find Sam and Bucky because they know that they were somehow involved with Zemo escaping. So it seems like we got a lot of setup for the next episode. I'm very curious to see where it goes. Sorry if I was a little all over the place with this review. Near the end, I started losing my train of thought a little bit, and I forgot what I had said and hadn't said. So yeah, that's what happens when it's 4:15 in the morning after you watch this episode. But overall, enjoyed the episode. Really excited to see where they take this show moving forward. I'm really having a great time seeing Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan being able to expand these characters, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. What did you think about this episode? Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Any favorite moments? Anything you're worried about moving forward? Definitely curious to hear what you guys have to say. Hit that like button down below if you guys enjoyed the video. Comment your thoughts. Subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.